some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points.
Sylvester Stallone can finally savor a moment of vindication, the kind of moment Hollywood stories are built on. For years, the legendary actor hinted at a darker side to Jimmy Kimmel's on-air persona, warning that contempt towards celebrities and politicians might one day backfire on a career forged under the blinding spotlight. Now, that warning seems eerily prophetic. The controversy exploded during what was supposed to be another sharp, witty Kimmel monologue. Instead, it turned into a flashpoint. While addressing the recent passing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, Kimmel delivered remarks that, intended or not, landed as biting political commentary at a time when family, friends, and supporters were still in mourning. What some might have seen as edgy humor, others saw as deeply inappropriate, a tone-deaf jab that struck raw nerves across the country. Within hours, a wave of outrage swept through social media and beyond. Critics from both sides of the political spectrum condemned the segment as lacking empathy and respect, a rare moment of bipartisan disapproval. ABC scrambled to contain the damage. In a move few could have predicted, the network issued an unusually blunt statement announcing that Jimmy Kimmel Live would be preempted indefinitely. No timeline for a return. No assurances of a comeback. For a show that had been a fixture of late-night television for over 2 decades, the sudden pause felt like a thunderclap in the entertainment world. But the backlash didn't stop there. The most stinging rebuke came from within ABC's own extended family. Nexstar Media Group, the powerful force behind a large share of ABC's local affiliates, released a statement that read like a public reprimand. Mr. Kimmel's comments about the loss of Mr. Kirk are offensive and insensitive at a critical time in our national political discourse, it declared. They do not reflect the spectrum of opinions, views, or values of the communities we serve. Continuing to give Mr. Kimmel a broadcast platform is simply not in the public interest at this time. To understand why Stallone's reaction was so swift and why he all but celebrated this sudden downfall, we need to rewind the tape and revisit the origins of this rift. The spark that ignited this now infamous feud was, surprisingly, a single canceled talk show appearance, a seemingly small decision that set off a chain reaction. Sylvester Stallone, Hollywood's enduring symbol of grit and perseverance, had been scheduled to appear on Jimmy Kimmel Live to promote the family Stallone and Tulsa King. It was a rare treat for fans. Stallone rarely graces late-night couches, and viewers were eager for an intimate look at his career, his family life, and the stories only he could tell. But behind the scenes, things reportedly took a different turn. According to insiders, Kimmel himself allegedly pushed ABC to cancel Stallone's booking over political differences. Instead of maintaining a veneer of late-night professionalism, he let his own bias seep into the process and then doubled down in public. During a live segment, Kimmel launched a string of pointed jokes about Stallone's views, remarks that felt less like comedy and more like a personal attack. The tone was condescending, the humor sharp without wit, and audiences immediately sensed the shift. Fans who had tuned in for entertainment felt blindsided. Within hours, social media erupted like a wildfire. Hashtags such as #CancelKimmel and #RespectStallone surged across platforms, and Kimmel's name was trending nationwide. Disrespecting Stallone? That's a mistake you can't recover from, one furious user wrote, while another added, Stallone built his legacy on hard work and respect. Kimmel's tearing his down with pettiness. Even casual viewers, who had no stake in the drama, joined the pile-on, calling the jokes mean-spirited and bitterness dressed up as comedy. Clips from this segment spread at lightning speed, drawing merciless comments and dissecting every line. What was meant to be humor became the centerpiece of a public reckoning, an unflattering spotlight Kimmel never expected. For countless viewers, that infamous moment became the perfect symbol of everything they believe is broken about late-night television today. Shows once built on charm, wit, and entertainment now drowning in political jabs and culture war commentary. What used to be a welcome escape after a long day increasingly feels like another arena for partisan sparring. And it wasn't just frustrated fans who took notice. Seasoned media critics quickly joined the fray. One columnist dubbed the controversy a textbook case of late-night TV alienating its audience, while another framed it as a flashpoint exposing the cracks in legacy media's crumbling foundation. Kimmel's swipe at Stallone didn't merely land awkwardly, it backfired in spectacular fashion, ricocheting through social media and into boardrooms. ABC executives soon felt the tremors as Jimmy Kimmel Live's ratings nosedived. This wasn't a minor fluctuation, it was a dramatic plunge that sent the network scrambling into full damage control mode. For a program already fighting to hold its ground against podcasts, YouTube personalities, and a buffet of on-demand content, the sudden slide was a devastating blow. In a frantic bid to stop the bleeding, ABC reportedly reached out to Stallone, not simply to apologize, but to plead. They dangled a rare offer: unrestricted airtime on Jimmy Kimmel Live, promising the star he could speak his mind without the usual network constraints. Executives even floated the prospect of future collaborations to sweeten the deal. According to one insider, there was a quiet admission of guilt. Losing Stallone had only amplified Kimmel's misstep and tarnished his image further. But Stallone wasn't swayed. To him, the gesture reeked of desperation, not sincerity. His team signaled that this was less about reconciliation and more about saving Kimmel's reputation and slowing a ratings freefall. Fans rallied behind Stallone's refusal. Good for him, one user posted. They only want him back because the money's drying up. Others called the outreach too little, too late, insisting the star was right to walk away. Meanwhile, behind the polished facade of ABC, chaos was spilling out in every direction. Producers hustled to fill empty guest slots, but even marquee names were reportedly declining invitations. In whispers that soon reached the press, actors and public figures with differing political leanings began steering clear of Jimmy Kimmel Live entirely, a striking sign of just how toxic the brand had become. What once was a coveted stage for promotion and late-night banter now seemed like a minefield few wanted to cross. And at the center of this storm stood Sylvester Stallone, not just an actor, but a cultural institution. From the underdog triumph of Rocky to the relentless grit of Rambo, Stallone has spent decades crafting characters that embody perseverance, self-discipline, and the unshakable will to rise after every fall. To millions, he is the embodiment of the American dream, a man who clawed his way from obscurity to become one of Hollywood's most enduring icons. His heroes aren't just action figures, they're avatars for everyday people facing uphill battles of their own. That's why Kimmel's public mockery stung so deeply. Fans who grew up inspired by Stallone's message of resilience saw the jokes as more than just humor. They felt like insults hurled at their own values. Stallone's movies taught me never to quit, one fan tweeted. What has Kimmel ever done besides talk trash about people? Another jabbed, Rocky got knocked down but always got back up. Kimmel's career is on the mat and nobody's counting him in. Social media became a digital coliseum. Hashtags like #RespectStallone and #FireKimmel surged to the top of trending lists. Memes multiplied at lightning speed, side-by-side shots of Stallone's iconic training scenes paired with unflattering stills of Kimmel, captions like, "Stallone inspires millions." Kimmel inspires channel changing. For many, this uproar wasn't about one-off color joke, it was about respect. Stallone has always treated his fans with dignity, both on and off screen. Kimmel's barbs felt less like satire and more like personal digs. Even casual viewers joined the chorus. "You don't mock a guy like Stallone," one commenter wrote. "He's Hollywood royalty." Kimmel's not even in the same league. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel Live, once a dependable cornerstone of pop culture, has been losing viewers for years. Audiences say they're exhausted by the endless political rants and long for lighthearted comedy. Compare that to Jimmy Fallon's show, where games and music still keep things playful, and the contrast becomes impossible to ignore. Kimmel, by contrast, has turned his stage into something that feels less like a comedy show and more like an endless debate club, except the audience never asked to enroll. Remember those Marathon 2020 election monologues? While Jimmy Fallon was harmonizing with pop stars and playing goofy games, Kimmel was at his desk delivering what felt like lectures from a substitute teacher. Fans tuning in for laughs were instead met with political diatribes, and many simply reached for the remote. The ratings tell the story with brutal clarity. By 2023, Jimmy Kimmel Live had slipped so far that even Greg Gutfeld's Fox show was consistently outdrawing it. For late-night loyalists, it was a surreal sight. A cable newcomer who once built an online following cracking jokes about cats on Reddit now surpassing a network veteran. For Kimmel, it was the entertainment equivalent of Rocky losing a fight to a YouTube boxer, unthinkable until it happened. But Kimmel's slump isn't just about one man's missteps, it's a symptom of a deeper shift. Traditional late-night television, once the nightly campfire for millions, is fading into irrelevance. Younger viewers have abandoned it for podcasts, YouTube channels, and TikTok creators who feel fresher, more intimate, and always on demand. If you're watching this online right now, you're part of the proof. Shows like Kimmel's are left chasing a shrinking audience that still remembers dial-up internet, while the rest of the world has already moved on. The Stallone clash merely became one of the final, glaring cracks in the facade of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Disney, ABC's parent company, was already quietly reevaluating Kimmel's future with the network after the uproar, and insiders whisper that a replacement is already waiting in the wings, someone less controversial, less prone to turning tragic events into punchlines, and far less likely to alienate viewers with casual disrespect. The contrast couldn't be starker. Greg Gutfeld, once dismissed as the quirky guy cracking cat jokes online, now regularly tops the ratings of traditional late-night shows. Think about that for a second. A Fox News personality, without Disney's billion-dollar backing, outperforming one of the most established programs in the genre. Why? Because he entertains without lecturing. Stallone's decision to appear on platforms like Gutfeld's isn't just a random booking, it's a statement. Keep your scripted narratives, he seems to signal. I'm going where people actually want to hear me. And he's not alone. Shazam! Star Zachary Levi recently called out Hollywood's obsession with politics, branding it a creativity killer. Veteran actor James Woods has likewise distanced himself from legacy media's echo chambers. Together, these voices illustrate a larger truth. Hollywood's old stamp of approval is no longer a prerequisite for relevance. The numbers tell the story better than any press release. Joe Rogan, Gutfeld, and a growing league of independent creators are soaring, building audiences that dwarf traditional networks. While Kimmel finds himself in real trouble, Stallone is expanding his reach into spaces his critics never even imagined. This isn't just about one late-night host losing his grip, it's about a seismic shift in how audiences choose their entertainment. Traditional late night is fading fast, and many of its biggest stars haven't caught on. Stallone's refusal to play the old Hollywood game feels like a visible marker of that change. The future belongs to authenticity, not bias.